Hey guys, welcome back to the Hollywood Dreams podcast. I'm your host, Santi, along with David, my fellow host. Hey Dave, how are you?
I'm good, Santi. How are you?
I'm doing good, man, and
This is
I'm
awesome
happy
to
to
be
be
back,
back.
man.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. Finally, after a very long hiatus, we are finally back doing episodes for the show, and I couldn't be happy with that. I feel like it's been way too long, and yeah, I mean, we both had the craving to start again doing episodes. We got some changes ahead. Actually, we were talking about this the other day. We will still be doing interviews whenever we can. If people still somehow want to be on the show, for some
well,
unknown.
tonight's guest actually contacted me about doing
Mhm.
it. So,
Yeah, for some
people
unknown
still
reason,
people are
people
still
want to be on the
interested.
show. Yeah,
People still want to do it.
yeah,
So,
yeah, and I mean, yeah, we will definitely still do the interviews, but we also want to start exploring the possibility of doing like another short form episodes where we talk about a topic that interests us, and of course, a topic related to our beloved hard rock scene that interests us, and we will discuss it at length, or um, at least until we until someone wants to hear us. But yeah, we want to start branching out and doing different stuff. That's enough interaction for now. We Tonight we
yeah, it
got
works.
a great guest from a band you might a little band you might remember, Babylon AD. We got Jamey Pacheco, our original drummer for Babylon AD, which we're
Founding member
founding
of the
and
band.
founding member, of course, yeah.
Mhm.
And his partner as well, who his lovely partner Ronnie Wagner, who was also somewhat involved in the scene back in the day, and she has a lot of interesting stuff to tell us as well. So yeah, so basically we are going to be talking with them about everything Babylon AD and their current stuff that they're working on. They are currently
Duran
playing
Duran
for
Duran.
Duran Duran tribute act
And
that they
and
got going on, and
and
all their
Ronnie's new music that she's
Ronnie's new
doing.
music.
Mhm.
Yeah, all the
So,
shenanigans they were up to in Vegas. So yeah, we'll let them speak for themselves in a few minutes. But we wanted to take a few to talk to you guys about what's going on with the show and what the future will be like for Hollywood Dreams moving forward. So yeah, so let's jump right in. Enough introduction. Let's jump
without
right.
further ado,
Without further ado, yeah, drum roll, please. We will leave you guys with Ronnie and see what she has to say.
now, Ronnie, did you have a record deal? Did you get signed out of
I
LA?
tried. You go, girl. You go, girl. So
It's your time now.
she's got good. Dude, she's like, so then I was thinking Hollywood then and now, you know what I mean? And I almost want to start with now, but since you said Cleveland, my father was a huge influence for me, and he was the youngest symphony orchestra concertmaster in the world when he became concertmaster is the violinist that takes all the solos for you rockers. Anyway, the Cleveland Symphony Orchestra under George Zell.
He was the Eddie of violin, dude.
Here we go. So
Wow.
anyway, Cleveland is important in my life, but anyway, Hollywood then and now. So when I was born in the old country, and I came to this country uh, when I was maybe 2 years old, and my dad was touring. And after touring and then playing in a local symphony in Northern California for about 6 years, he moved to Los Angeles and started sawing away in the studios with all his buddies from the Army Air Force Band, and I was flying down every weekend to be with my dad. And when I was about 14, I said, I got to get out of here. You know what I mean? Because I felt the Hollywood dream already. And so I did. I moved down to LA and I finished high school down there. And I don't know how much time you spent in Los Angeles, but if you go to LA and you're like me when you're 14, you see all the bungalows from the 20s and the old school actors and stars. And it was so real to me, everything about it. It just sort of resonated. But anyway, so I finished high school, I got shipped off to college back east.
Shit, she went to high school in Bel Air, man. That's kind of cool, don't you think?
Right.
So
Fresh Princess of Bel Air.
Hell yeah, dude. I mean, that's a good problem to have right
Yeah,
there.
no doubt.
So when I was in college, I've always been good at school. I started getting more interested in pop music again as a player, and I thought, it wasn't that I was, believe me, everyone was smarter than me in Massachusetts, but but by the time I was a senior, I really I felt, I want to play music, so I started playing, and they came out in Guitar Player Magazine with this program you could go to in Hollywood called GIT, the Guitar Institute of Technology. And so I called my dad. I said, I want to go back to LA and I want to go to GIT. Because, well, I thought by this time he's teaching in Ann Arbor at the university. He goes, I thought you're going to go to law school. I said, well, I didn't get in because I applied to Yale and Michigan. Oh, I didn't get in. Big shock. But anyway, so he says, okay, you can go. So I went back to Hollywood, and it was the best time, I think. I mean, in hindsight, in foresight, and at the time, it was everything, like Kate Hudson says, it's all happening. It's exactly the way that it was. And you asked the question, did I tried to get signed. And the wonderful thing is, Jamey and I have complementary experiences. So he has the dream that everybody would want. You have your own band with your own material and you have your own following, and you're just creative and free and individual and original, and you go down there and you get discovered, you know what I mean, like Lana Turner at Schwab's, and boom. Well, that was not my path. I went to GIT, and a very impatient person, and I'm sure he's never noticed. But anyway, I could barely play the guitar, honestly. I think I've been playing for like a year and a half, and there was 230 monsters in my class. And it didn't matter though, because like 6 months into the school, I was playing paid gigs, reading charts or whatever, what have you. And then the better, the better, the better. There was opportunity at every level in Hollywood when I went there. You could be, playing weddings and casuals, which is what I started doing, casuals in a band where I'm reading charts and so forth. I'd be to the keyboard player. I have a solo coming up in 32 bars. I wonder if you might be able to give me some scale resources, because real seriously, it was not anyway. So tried really hard, and I was playing paid gigs, and every band I would get in would be better than the last. And on the side, then I was trying out for other bands, original acts. And so I've done all the showcases. You only had to do a couple, and boom, he signed a huge major label. I've done those. Uh, um, I was playing the same circuit as Wasp and Helly and Armored Saint and Motley Crue and all of them when I got into the best all-female band in Los Angeles, which was called Tantrum. Um, and we tried. We wanted to be on Atlantic so bad, and it was just like what he said. You're in Mates, or I think, or SAR, and there's one guy. It's the guy. It's the A&R guy, and you have to pretend as if you're playing. The shows we've been doing, like we went for Queensryche at the Country Club. We playing the circuit, and there's no one in the room but the guy. And anyway, so long and short of it, I was able to get steady work as a musician, even with limited experience, which is a dream. It is a Hollywood dream. I remember but I got the tip-offs because of GIT. My teachers were very supportive of every player
Didn't
there.
Lukather play at your school?
Steve Lukather shows up and he's doing a little talk in the performance room. Anybody got a guitar? Some guy hands him a Les Paul Standard. He plugs into one of these crappy amps that Gibson had provided. Not that they're, anyway. And he sounds like he's playing through his regular rig, and it's just, it's all in the hands, baby. But it was a really valuable time. And it was so, I don't know, that was it. And you don't realize it till years later, that was really what it was. I was telling him a funny story. Okay, so then and now. So now, and I kind of skipped the middle. The most recently, since probably, I guess, last July, I've been accepting some performance shows with other acts because we've been together in an act for 5 years. And
Which is Duran Duran Duran.
Yeah, Durant. Yep.
We'll talk about that in a bit, but go ahead, baby.
so I got a buddy because I have a fun side project that I wanted something all my own, not to be riding on the rock star's tail, coattails all the time. So I answered a Craigslist ad and I went to the audition with my gun. And anyway, so I've been with that drummer
Yeah.
forever. And he's got this metal band, which is not my, you know what I mean? I feel like a fake, I guess it's imposter syndrome, but
Hmm.
he bugged me over a couple of years. You got to play with Unhinged. You got to play with us. I said, it's not real. So anyway, he goes, we're playing the Whiskey. I said, I'll do it. So
Hmm.
anyway, then and now I never played the Whiskey. I played the Roxy, the Country Club, Cafe de Grand, Lingerie, Madame Wong's, West, Chinatown, Troubadour, like all that stuff in the 80s. I was a guitar player, but I had never played the Whiskey. So I was like, okay, I'll do it. And it was everything that I would have hoped, or you might have expected
Shit, she
it
just
to
played
be.
at the Rainbow the other night.
Yeah,
The
but
Rainbow, they have like, I don't know if you guys ever been upstairs, like on the second floor in the Rainbow. It's hard to get up there, especially like when it's packed with chicks and stuff, because they only let the girls upstairs.
who knew?
Right.
And so we used to kind of weasel up there and like play, and hang out if we could get up there, like back like when we were in Babylon sometimes.
Mhm.
Um, there's this little like dance floor thing when you step down, and most of the times it was stores. There was like extra tables down there, and just equipment and all this. Well, later they started booking bands instead there, and then the little dance like DJs and stuff. And she goes, "I'm gonna play at the Rainbow." I'm all, "Dude, you better take that gig. That's so cool." I mean, and then I told her it's about the upstairs, but
Well, so here's somebody who's a rock star. He's signed. He's got the big giant, mural at Tower Records and what have you. So he's been frequenting, in the grand tradition, the Rainbow. I've been there 3 times before I played there a couple of weeks ago. First time was when I went down to LA to go to high school, and the girls were showing me around town. That's where Batman lives. That's Barbara Streisand's tennis court. Blah blah blah. Gregory Peck. Um, so I just had this memory I was telling Jamie about. I sneaked into the Rainbow. I did. I was probably 15. And I don't even remember who I was with, just another girl from the high school. And we got in. He said, "Did you go upstairs?" I said, "Yeah, we did. We walked upstairs, like a short stair." He goes, "Describe it." I said, "Well, I looked at the left, and there's a short bar with maybe 8 bar stools, and everyone looked like David Bowie in a costume." And I thought, I am such a bumpkin from Marin County. This is terrible. You know what I mean? It looked like it was just surreal. He goes, "That's what it was like. It really was." So I go, "Okay, well, I'll make sure to take a picture when I go down and play there." And I have to tell you guys, it was exactly as I recalled.
if you
Wow.
go in that second level though, there's a third level,
Who knew?
and it's got these like they're not even stairs, dude. They're almost like a ladder, and that's where the Hollywood vampires, the original ones like Joe Perry, Ringo Starr, Johnny Depp. I mean, David Letterman, all these guys, they go to this third level, and it was a weird little like table that kind of was halfway covered, and then you could see up there, but around
Yeah.
the corner, that's where all the real contraband was going down, man. Those guys grew up on that level. That's where the shit was going down. David Letterman and Paul Schaefer were up there once, and we were on the second level. And a friend of mine, after they split, crawled up there and says, and they left a lot of stuff behind. And so yeah, we went we were the cleanup crew, I guess.
It was funny.
Awesome.
I guess I'll skip over the second time I was there. But anyway, the third time he took me there, we were visiting, and he said, "You want to have dinner?" I said, "They serve food." And I said, "There's a shrine to Lenny." But anyway, I said, "I thought it was all hookers and blow. I didn't realize they had food. The best Italian food. I'm not kidding you."
Yeah.
And then this time, so then and now, right? So now, some of my dreams, Hollywood dreams and other dreams, haven't been 100% fulfilled, but it was such a great time to play at the Whiskey with the metal band, and then I played in the Valley with these guys that I played at the Rainbow. It's just been super fun. And they're what I like is the young, the what do you say, they're the new breed, you know what I mean, the new flock. And I just feel really inspired by them, and kind of
Mhm.
flattered that they aren't saying, "Really, this is who we have," anyway. But I was getting a ride with this with the other guitar player from the band leader, who's this very esoteric young man who plays a 7 string, and you can't tell what the heck he's playing because it's tuned. Maybe part of the neck is like Keith Richards, and who knows what the heck he's doing. Not sure he knows, but it's very esoteric. And he's they're shredders, right? So we're driving along, and I was telling my about this. I said, now you have to touch the statue of Lemmy, before we perform for luck. He goes, you mean Lenny Kravitz? I go, oh my God.
Let me try.
No.
I go, no, Lemmy, like ace of spades, ace of spades. No, clue. You know what I
Lenny
mean?
Kravitz is cool, but he's not Lemmy cool.
Anyway, so it was a great experience, and that was my Hollywood dream. And I do feel as if it's coming full circle because going back now, and one of my sons went to music. Well, he has a Bachelor of Music from Cal State Northridge in media composition, which is essentially film score. He's a pianist. And even when he was in college, he's like, it's not what you remember, Mom. Hollywood is not the same. I said, no matter when I go there, since I'm a child, since all the experience I've had there, I still see the bungalows and the movie stars and the big old cars going down Sunset Strip. And to me, it's always going to be that. So anyway, I'm just delighted to be playing with these kids that are younger than my kids. Just don't tell them, okay?
So the one of the cats that she's referring to, like that she plays in this now, that's kid that he played in Cameo and he's in our cast. His name's Stephen Davis. African American kid. He's our Nile Rodgers, man. This guy is smoking, and he's got a heavy metal feel, but funk, and we've become really good friends with him. So her traveling with him, I know she's in good hands with him because she's come on the road with us with other ladies and stuff, on the road, and he's been a very very nice person
Can I
to work
say
with.
his name? His
Yes.
act is called
Stephen
Daddy Priest.
Oh, Daddy Priest.
Daddy
Yeah, that's what he
Priest.
goes by, Daddy
Yeah.
Priest. But she don't call him Daddy. But then when the funny part is though, when he goes to Hollywood now, it's like I'm the house sitter. I'm the house boy. I stay home and take care of the house. And she goes, I go, okay, dear, I'll see you later. I'll do the dishes when you're gone.
He said, yeah, no, I need to take care of the
I
cat.
need to take care of the cat, and all that stuff. So that's cool, man.
Yeah. Hey.
A lot of that stuff. I've come to a point in my life, I'm 60 years old, man, and I've done everything I wanted to do in music. And moving forward with the tribute band and stuff,
So good.
I got a whole new cast of players and stuff, but a lot of stuff has changed. There's a lot of dynamic that happened a while back that kind of sucked, like to put us back, one cast member here.
Let me just say, coming to a new culture like Las Vegas,
Yeah.
you get the lay of the land, and sometimes you get it by a hard lesson
Yeah.
because we're
nice people.
we're not rude, nothing like that, but it's like we definitely open our hearts and our home and whatever.
Yeah.
We always think the best of people, we always expect it. And when you get burned, you know what I mean.
We've been taken advantage of just out of being nice, and we help people. I mean, and all this stuff. And this one cat, he split with our wardrobe and used our wardrobe in his photo shoots for a different band and
in
stuff.
general terms, he did stuff that's not acceptable in any show business culture.
Yeah,
You got punked essentially.
Yeah, and we continue to get punked. And I said, Ronnie, what's going on, man? I mean, all we are is nice, I mean, sometimes people will hit us up for gas money and they need a pack of smokes or they want to meet you could tell they're hungry. Or we just say, hey, we got the cocktails, we got the food. Come on, hang out. You want to spend the night? No problem, man. We have an extra room.
To be fair, we don't necessarily have a budget for that.
No, we
Do you know
don't.
what I mean?
It comes out of our pocket.
Like this is just our inclination is to be this way, and you don't really expect to get had. You know what I mean? I guess we didn't see the train.
And I think it's fun because we're from the Bay Area, and I don't know anyone in the Bay Area that acts like that. I mean, well, I mean,
so I met Jamey at an audition. I was working I had my other career that I retired from, but I was still playing. I had switched to bass. I switched to bass in when did I switch to bass? 2010. And so I was working and I was playing with a blues guy, great blues guy on the weekends and so on. And I saw this ad, bass player wanted for a blues-based original project, okay, with the guy Babylon AD. Well, it sounded familiar. I was like, all right. This sounds better than what I'm doing. So I showed the drummer I was with. He goes, oh, yeah. He pulls out an old band magazine. These guys are on blah, blah, on MTV. I was like, okay, cool. Anyway, that's how we met.
Yeah.
And thanks to him, You know,
Yeah, we met at an audition. It was like David, did you ever meet like some of did you ever come up to the compound and in Castro Valley or anything like that where we used to rehearse? You never came to the Bay Area, did you?
No,
Anyway,
no.
this is in 2017.
they had their own limo, just
We had to put the band on hiatus and do a soul record, do a blues record or whatever. And so, he put up this ad and she answered it. She walked in and we locked eyes and we started talking. And we kind of like made our own little, like, we're just like, and it was like,
Mhm.
come on, man, let's get this fucking show on the road, let's get this done. So she auditions and stuff, and I thought the audition went well. And I told the guys, I go, I ain't getting the typical, like, the the overweight bald guy like that's gonna play bass. I want her, you know.
Mhm.
We had just gotten back from Germany and there was a ton of female fronted bands
Yeah,
and
but
females in the band. And Europe is different, and heavy metal, good looking girls, just fronted bands.
Yeah.
Dora, she was on her bill. Like she's been around for a long time. And I've always enjoyed her music and enjoyed her theatrics and all that. She's a badass performer.
Julia,
But all these girls are like that out there in Germany and stuff. And, where I was at the time where I was touring. And so what I discovered when I was in the audience, and just kind of hanging out, and it was so empowering to the female audience. I mean, they were just inspired. Like, God, I could those. How did she get up there with those dudes? And the thing is anyone could do that. Anyone, as long as they have, a lot of guys wouldn't give a female an opportunity back in the day. And I always found it fascinating when you had a female in the band. It added just something different. It added a really cool dynamic, in my opinion. So I wanted that, I wanted that. Plus, Ronnie's beautiful, good looking. She could play. She's funny. We hit it off. We connected. She's a bass player. I'm a drummer. We're killer rhythm section. So we hit it off and we it kind of fizzled a little bit, and then we both got asked back to do a video.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
at the time the communication always sucked, like in Babylon AD anyway. No one knew who our manager was. No one knew what was going on and stuff. The guys are doing a lot better now. I think they have their shit together more on that. And we were just trying to fly by the seat of our pants. So the communication and all that kind of stuff. It's like, what's going on with this blues thing? I mean, I like the girl, let's get her in here. I want to play with her. So we got back, we did a video, and then she was gonna a couple days later, I think she was gonna do another audition. And so I go, why don't you come up to my my little place here and let me train you?
Okay.
And then we haven't been apart ever since.
It worked out.
That's awesome.
That's right. I have to say, so all the stuff they told me at GIT when I was very young, I was too impatient, and I should have known my entire family is classical musicians, and even my kids are, educated musicians. I was like, no, I just want to play. This is why I'm never afraid of auditions, because it couldn't be worse. Do you know what I mean? Than the ones I did when I lacked any possible shred of experience to be viable. But Jamie was like, look, I got you a call back. Here's what you have to do. I'm going to show you. And, I always love jamming with drummers anyway, even as a guitar player.
Mhm.
And so fantastic.
First, make yourself comfortable in my little palace.
Like, hang on. But
So
it's
smooth.
Yeah,
Smooth.
so went from there, but ace rock and roll, babies.
great, and I have to say, I was very well received, for like a kind of a ballsy program, you know what I mean? Like, I have
Mhm.
girls like grabbing my sleeve on the stage and things like this. We're so glad you're here. And that's where you want to see that. It's good,
We
anyway.
would do this act
Yeah.
night with the blues thing, and Derek would go around and on guitar, Kyle. What was his Kyle? What's Kyle's
Oh
last name?
my God, I know.
Anyway, Kyle,
Good,
and then you get Jamey Pacheco on drums, Ronnie Wagner on bass. Yeah, the whole crowd lit up, and then I'm Derek, and no one said, I
I
mean,
don't think so.
and it wasn't. No, it wasn't. It was the guys got like mild response,
I don't
but
think
she
so.
got like the response, right? And I'm going,
Well, it's a great vehicle for me personally, because every person in that group was, so talented and so had so much proficiency that it gave me legitimacy, in my opinion.
we henceforward to the Duran thing. It was
Yeah.
kind of the same thing,
Can I just say,
Yeah.
so some stuff went on, and Jamie withdrew from the project that I had auditioned for, gotten in, and I was like, well, I wouldn't stay without him, but I don't think they would have, retained me anyway. but the day after, I think he put I think maybe one little subtle thing on Facebook that, you know, former drummer of blah, blah, blah. And then,
No, I didn't do
or
anything.
whatever he did, the very next day
Yeah.
comes Duran Duran
Yeah,
Duran.
what happened was is that the relationships between myself and people that were running the boat at the time,
Mhm.
they kind of started dwindling away, especially like you know with that project, and it just I didn't want to be around those people anymore. I didn't really dig. Just it was just a real like I don't know. When you I didn't want to be around that kind of thing. It was just
Mhm.
negative, a lot of
Honestly,
negative.
they were not treating him right. And I had so much experience playing these bar gigs, you know what I mean? Like the first time we played at some club and he goes, okay, I'm all loaded up, let's go. I'm all, he goes, what are you doing? I go, I'm waiting for the band leader to count the tip jar. He's
Yeah,
like,
he never did.
he doesn't have that I have, you know what I
What
mean?
what what started turning what started turning happening is the environment, not only in the blues thing, but the Babylon thing too, kind of started getting a little toxic, and
Mhm.
the people, and the people are hanging around and stuff, and you know, it, I didn't say anything to anyone. I just decided one day I just was updating my about information, and I just said, I'm not going back to that again. I'm not going to do it again, and I'm not going. I don't. Who do I have to tell? I'm just going to let. I'm done. And
Yeah.
so I put former drummer of Babylon AD
That's
on
what it
my
was.
Facebook, just my profile, just updating
Mhm.
my information. 5 seconds, 5 minutes
Literally.
later, a friend of mine from way back, this guy Bobby Ken, he calls me and goes, "Hey," he goes, "I saw what you put up." He goes, "What's going on, man?" And I said, I kind of went over it with him, and he goes, "Would you be
Mhm.
into Duran Duran music?" And I'm all, I don't know, man. I'm a hard rock guy. I don't play pop, and stuff. But I'll tell you what. I went to her and I go, "What would you think about doing a project together, doing this Duran thing?" I go, "If you're gonna do play bass, you know who John Taylor is. John Taylor is like he's the focal point of Duran Duran." And I go,
Mhm.
"That's a big task, it's a huge task to take on." I go, because in my opinion at the time, I'm not saying that now, I didn't care for the drums. I didn't care for any of it. It was just a bunch of
Mhm.
disco, 16 note stuff. And when she accepted and I accepted, we went to rehearsals. I got my ass kicked. Okay. I
Mhm.
turned my whole opinion around about that. I love that. That's when I really started shifting my style and learning funk and learning the tricks of how to really play this music.
Mhm.
It's not that. You think it was like, 16th on the fall in the hat, but it's coming
Yeah.
back with a lift.
Those are other
Not your
drummers.
typical lift, it's an
Right.
offbeat lift. And then all of a sudden that creates this attack in the music where
Mhm.
it's like just bouncing it, this dance kind of feel. I'm going. I was raised on R&B and disco. My mom and dad listened to Bee Gees all the time and Earth, Wind and
Mhm.
Fire, War, Tower of Power. She listened to that kind of stuff. And I was always one of these kind of like, because I'm not a whale drummer. Like the drummer that they have in Babylon AD now, the kid's fantastic. He's killer.
Yeah, he's pretty
He's
good.
kick ass. And he's like 22 years old and stuff. I've always been a groover, kind of like a Taylor Hawkins or like a Steven Adler or like just you play for the tune, man, and have a good time. Do like
Mhm.
Tommy Lee, a little whirly bird here and there, and all of a sudden the girls are lining up because you do the whirly bird and you're playing funk. Like David Lee Roth. I don't know if you guys saw that one little snippet. He goes, "Here comes Eddie and Alex in their van and all that stuff," and they go, "We're gonna play Black Sabbath." And he goes, "No, man, we're gonna play a little Sly Stone. You guys ain't gonna get no chicks with playing Black Sabbath, man. We're gonna play a little Sly Stone. I like that drummer, Sly Stone, right?" I'm all going, "That's me right there." So, the comp, the contrast of styles, right? I
Yeah.
mean, it makes sense for those guys to go in that direction because the music is kind of like AI and it's all like mechanical and all that stuff.
But the
I,
evolution,
I'm more of an organic, kind of like straightforward kind of drummer.
the evolution that Jamie created for himself in this project, Duran Duran Duran, was not just stylistic, which was significant, but it was also
Technology.
technological with
Mhm.
rig. We have a stage console, not just photography, branding, promotion, recruiting, auditioning. I mean, like every sort of business aspect of it. And then it was, I mean, I think we all changed from it, don't you think?
Yeah, I mean, Ronnie and I both have professional careers, you know. I mean, like in
Mm.
90 in 93 when my band got dropped, you know, I went back to college and it took me 6 years to get out. She went back to law school, you know. We were both played in the scene, made musicians, you know, cut our teeth and all that stuff. But there just comes a time where I ain't gonna do roofing anymore. You know, I'm not
Mm.
doing any of that. And
Driving
she's not driving the FedEx van
no, your
anymore.
FedEx courier.
You know, and we made a decision. She made a decision at a certain age, and so did I, right after my band got dropped. And it took 6 years for me to get out of school. It took her a hell of a long time to get out of school too.
Not
She
that
had
long.
twins and the whole thing.
Mm.
And but what's as cool is now that we get to go and really kind of like not have to worry about the financial end of it, we can enjoy it. But along with our professional careers, it really helped with the Duran thing because, you know, my profession, I'm an art director, graphic designer. I'm also an educator of design. I taught at a community college for over 20 years. And, you know, I know my shit about design and I know my stuff about, you know, visual and all that. Ronnie, she knows negotiation. She knows how to, you know, do contracts. She knows how to just you know, everything legally by the book, so it's legit. So when we send emails, we send business, business documents and all that stuff. They're all formatted right. They're all pro. It's like you're getting them from you get them from two professionals. And that was a big part of our success, the
Yeah.
way we were able to communicate with the talent buyers. We built a cast. Ronnie and I were the core. And if one guy wasn't, we had 3 guitar players, a few singers, 4 like co-singers. But
Six.
Ronnie and I never missed a gig. You know, we played all the gigs, but
Mhm.
we'd have subs, but all the guys, you know, if one guy couldn't do it, she would do all the scheduling, she'd do all the logistics, all that stuff. She kept that end going. I kept the visual part of it going,
What's the booking?
all the and the
We have
booking.
complementary skill
Yeah,
sets.
so we were kind of an in-house
Right.
powerhouse
Exactly.
team. And I attribute the success to Duran Duran and where we're at today with that because of that fact. You know, a
Yeah.
lot of musicians don't have that skill set. And I'm not saying they can't. It's just sometimes that people don't put the brakes on in time to take a couple of years out
Right.
and then reinvent and then get back out and do it again. So you could actually have like, hey, I got this idea. I want to build this brand. Because brand costs money, man.
This is if we had to pay, or
You know,
anybody would have to pay retail for the stuff that we brought to the enterprise.
legal
It
stuff.
would be crippling.
Yeah,
It really would. And to also, after when we had a couple of bumps in the road, not our own fault, by the way, I realized, oh, the original band leader, the founder, he would put on hiatus for a year at a time. He had it for 19 years. He would come out and do these smash gigs, and then
and
it'd
then
be
just
on hold for a
duck
while.
out, duck out.
Yeah.
The thing what happened was you know, we were like 5 gigs in and we had about 10 more to go, like on our first roll through this thing. And we were a band.
Yeah.
And it was just beginning to become too much for him. You know, it's just the travel, the expense, just everything. I mean, he needed to, you know, just take a break again, you know, a hiatus, I guess. And Ronnie and I go, I got my name on 10 contracts here, dude. You know, we're not missing a gig again. So I'll leave it to her.
Oh, I was going to say it also, Bobby had an original project that we go to Europe is sort of that.
It wasn't happening then, though.
Okay, but I'm saying.
Yeah, this guy's, you know, I'm gonna
Rock.
Max Norman's gonna produce
My
my band.
God.
Bullshit.
Well, anyway, he had other interests besides copy.
So anyway, so she with her negotiation skills and stuff, I said, you know, I'm not good at that, and I'll probably wind up, you know, getting in a fist fight with a guy or something. So why don't she took it, you know, it's been a great like 3.5, 4 years and stuff. Right now, you guys want to talk about the now, unless you have any other questions about that kind of thing. It's kind of like put on a little bit of a hold because of there's
Jamey is working full-time at a professional career in graphic design and art direction for a huge company, and he's been doing it for many years. So, I mean, he can do things faster. The farther you get into a career like that, the more efficient you become. But nonetheless, it's a lot of obligation, a lot of responsibility. It's a professional career. I'm retired. I can do, as one of my sons said, I could do whatever TF I want. But still a lot, you know what I mean? I don't mind making sandwiches and printing out lyric sheets and all the other schlepping that comes along with running the enterprise. But after a while, when you have a couple of kicks in the head, you think, you know, the 90 minutes that we get for which for me is the grand joy of this Duran project.
Or are
Playing
we?
with him, those gigs, those like was worth the flat tire, was worth the guy forgetting the lyrics of Hungry Like the Wolf. Are you kidding me? Do you know what I mean? There's stuff
But we look at each other in the face and we look around our
That's right.
our wonderful home here in Vegas and stuff. And I'm all, do we really
Mhm.
need this? I mean, let's just watch Netflix all day, you know?
Where's him? Meanwhile, playing with some things in Hollywood.
Yeah.
So no, Jamie gets offers all the time. We each do, but we love playing together. But sometimes I guess now that we've been together this long, we realize there's going to be moments or maybe a phase where we're doing other things, and that's okay. It really doesn't break us apart type of thing. I never tired of the repertoire, I have to say. I mean, it made me a much better musician to learn that because I can't be John Taylor. I am not a 6'2" heartthrob to all the women of the world, but
Yeah, you are.
I could play those damn parts note for
If you
note.
could, that's it. If you could play.
And they deserve that. The Duranis deserve me to give them that. And then it doesn't matter what the heck I look like, frankly. I'm not some jazz guy just doing my own interpretation of it because to me, it's like, you know what? When I play covers, I learn the exact bass part because I will let you know when I come up with a better part that Paul McCartney did for that song or whatever. That's just my way of playing covers on bass. Which brings us to my Hollywood dream now is that Jamie, obviously having all this grand recording experience and real record albums and Eris and MTV. I tried. He'd really, I would, I really hadn't had much of an opportunity even after a couple of years to share any of my recording experience, which even if it was demos. So one night I pulled out the tomato crate and we listened to some of the demos that I'd done and some of the recordings and things that I'd arranged, like compilation things for promo for Filthy, Filthy McNasty, which I was
Mhm.
anyway. And he's like, "Oh my God, are you kidding?" I said, "Not at all." And so I don't know where he went, but he's agreed.
Probably to get a beer. I think he went to go get a beer.
That sounds good. But yeah, I've been playing with, like I said, I've been playing only with two acts this year, which is Daddy Priest, Stephen Davis, which is all original. Um,
Mhm.
and then I've been once a year, the last 3 years, I've been playing with a national act called Passion Nouveau. They're from Detroit and they're 80s new wave, but they're more like Flacacy, not like the Plimsouls. Well, kind of like the Plimsouls, but it's all original and they're really terrific guys. The guitar player lives in Vegas, and he's really a tremendous guy. And they're purists, you know. He's like, I must have my Marshall stack and my Roland jazz chorus. You know, I'm like, dude, I'm playing Ant Modeler. It's this big, but anyway. So we're playing. Where am I playing with Passion? At the
Oh, whiskey.
whiskey again. I said, oh, good. I was just there last year.
Nice.
So that's what I'm doing, and it leads me to tell you that Jamie's interested in sort of resurrecting the originals that I've written over the years, which have never been recorded properly. And so we've made a project of the first seven, and we're gonna record them together.
Yeah, so that's kind
That'd
of
be
like
awesome.
the middle was like, you got the Hollywood stories, the middle was the Duran thing. And I'll tell you what, the Duran thing is going to continue on. I have like about 3 gigs booked toward the end of the summer. We're really good gigs. These are good
Yeah.
gigs. And I
Mhm.
have great players, but I'm not going to short my players. I want to
Yeah.
make sure that my players get paid, not chump change. They're getting paid well, get treated well. And so I'm trying to get the brand up to this certain standard, but when you get things taken away for doing well,
Yeah.
it's kind of a little defeating, and stuff, all the work that we did and all the, I mean, like I said, but it was triumphant. Like a couple gigs that we played. Matter of fact, this one gig we played, it was over in the San Francisco Bay Area. It was at a place called Yoshi's, and
Mhm.
it's a jazz room. And Pete Escovedo plays there, Sheila E.,
Power,
Phillips,
power.
Tower of Power plays there. And the myth is like back when we were kids, it's like, how do you get into Yoshi's? There's no way in heck. We're all playing at the Stone and the Omni and the Nile Station and all that stuff in the Bay Area. But Yoshi's was this high class jazz room, just gorgeous place. We had the opportunity, we got a call, had an opportunity, there was a cancellation, we grabbed it, and I'll tell you what, man, it was a windy,
Oh my God.
raining, nasty night in Oakland, California, and we worked our butts off. We had 1 month to promote, and we sold the place out,
Yeah.
man. And we got guaranteed a
It
little
was
bit of
so
money,
great.
but we made our nut and we walked out of there with some good dough.
I said,
And
"We're
I'm
gonna do
going,
this. Let's
I'm
gamble.
going, I know did.
We're gonna do
We
it."
just said to ourselves, being Bay Area natives, North Bay, East Bay, we wanted to play the room. And it
Yeah,
didn't matter if we had to pay to play, we're gonna do it, just to have that, that experience of wow, these people treated us so
oh my
good.
God, they were
It's
really
a
great.
sushi restaurant too, and our table that was inside our dressing room was killer. It was just loaded. I'd go, dude, put the food away, man. I don't need people I play and stuff. But it
Hmm.
was the triumphant aspects of the Duran Duran experience and the project that we did together it was a huge thing for us because not only as a couple, but as just learning the ropes of people,
Mhm.
I was an educator for 22 years and I learned about people. She was in the courtroom for many, many years, She knows people too. So we were good at but this was some abstract shit that was going on. So that we had and we were going, can you believe this? I mean, this is things that, hey, pack of smokes and $20, please, because
It's a
I
different
need
culture.
gas. I
It-
go, you need $20 for gas. I'm like, come on, man. Really? Okay. It's no problem. We were very generous and very nice to a point. Now it's like, it's over, dude. What are you gonna do for us? Her friend made a good point. I have a
oh,
pitcher and I'm filling everyone's cups, but who's filling up my cup? Who's doing that? Who's doing that? It's like, and that it was such a great analogy. A friend of hers said this to
yeah,
her, and I go, you
drummer.
just got to be Christian
Another
or something
drummer.
like that, or
Yeah, he
he's
is.
got to be a
He's a
minister of some sort.
chaplain.
Because I've heard this, right?
But the culture and talking about the Hollywood dream again, I knew I wanted to live in Vegas. I knew I wanted to come here ultimately. I'd been here a couple
Mhm.
times. I was like, oh my God, this is like LA in the 70s and early 80s. And I could be there. And I had this Vegas dream, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
But now that we've been here for 5 years, the culture is it's not exactly the same. And there's some traps for the unwary that we've
Mhm.
unfortunately we've experienced, we've had some hard lessons, but we have this mutual support, even if it's just kind of just going, it's okay. This happened. We're
Hey,
okay.
hey, listen,
You need
it's
something in
okay
your
to stay home Friday night and watch Netflix and stuff because we've been
Yeah,
there.
watch RoboCop 2.
That was what I was
and it's
gonna
kind of funny,
say. I was
and the
waiting
great thing
for
is
for the
ever since
moment.
I met him, people say, wow,
Sorry, I interrupted. I didn't mean to interrupt.
we go out, so people say, you have these fabulous, portraits of you as a couple. I go, that's because everywhere we go, people recognize him and I let them do their thing with it. And then I say, please, may I have a portrait as well? So it's very funny. My kids were visiting, we took them to see Wayne Newton and they're clambering over him in the parking, thing. Oh my God, because they recognize him and it's a wonderful thing and he deserves it. But anyway, I'm just saying Vegas is not exactly Hollywood.
Yeah.
It's very happening in ways that some of Hollywood may have lost some of, but you know what I mean. Anyway, the facade of the giant neon stuff on the strip and it's
let's
empty in the back.
let's let
Just like,
Santiago ask his
okay,
question.
go
Yeah.
ahead.
No, I just, well,
This is our show. This
I
is
was just,
we let you guys do it.
Well,
yeah.
it usually happens because I think the fact that we were both in professions where she had to present her cases in court, and I used to have
Mhm.
to I got in front of a class of people for 22 years, and so we're good storytellers, and and we've been through it, and we can
Yeah.
articulate.
I
In fact, we're
mean,
like every interview that we've done, either together or whatever, after I get done, everyone's like, "Oh, dude, that was killer." I mean, because I go, I know, I took it over again. I'm sorry.
He has a lot to say,
yeah. I
and
mean, and you guys are great. You guys are great. And you're clearly meant to be together. You, Ronnie, work with the law. You, Jamie, are friends with RoboCop. It's just like a match meant to be. Uh,
It is refreshing to see how you guys interact with each other. It's pretty cool.
Everyone says that. I know. It's like a battery. There's a negative and a positive, and it comes together and explodes, and the car starts, right? It's like,
Yeah,
I know I can kind of see that, you know.
it's pretty cool.
So
It's
that
pretty cool.
so they that you reminded me of the video for I think it's Bang Go the Bells, right? Where RoboCop shows up to
No,
see you
that's Kid
guys
Goes
play.
Wild.
Oh, the
That's
Kid
why
Goes Wild. Yeah, yeah,
It,
yeah.
that song is repeated over like a 10-minute clip in the movie. It's like it goes from like a 3-minute song to like a 10-minute song, and it's all you. I remember being in the theater like going, "This is fucking great,
I got to walk the red carpet in San
so
Francisco with
awesome.
RoboCop, right?
dude." That had to be awesome.
You know, we're all like walking down, and I'm going, "Is this cool or not?" I mean,
And
I
hey,
don't know if it's kind of
didn't
hokey, like RoboCop's like,
No, it's
"Stop,"
wonderful.
you know.
wasn't that was directed by the guy that directed Empire Strikes Back, wasn't it? Irvin Kershner.
I think so. Yeah,
Think he
you
did.
know, man, at that point in time, that was kind of a not a great moment for me because it was just we're four singles into the album, and you know, we've been on the road for like quite a while, and we go to do that one, and it was just back out on the road again, you know. So it's just to,
Yeah,
but we had a great time making that video. Geez, I mean, it was a huge,
That's
big
so good.
budget thing, dude. You know, I
that
mean,
video was awesome.
all
Yeah,
of our videos, I gotta say, Arista did a
so
good job
good.
with all of our videos. They spent a lot of
A
money.
lot of
I
money.
mean, well, we spent a lot of money on
Yeah.
those videos, you know. I mean, the first one, Hammer Swing Down, was at the Sepulveda Dam, and that cost 250 grand to make, I think, you know.
Like
Two helicopters,
it's
50 chicks on the set, you know, and
And that
dog.
video looks great too. Even like now, it's all like HD, and when you watch it now, it looks like a brand new video.
Yeah, Derek, I want to clarify something too. There's a there on that video, I think Derek broke that video down and that campaign down or something like on some story that he tells every Sunday. And he puts an actress's name. The actress that was in Hammer Swing Down, the chick in the front, she had a white dress on and she's cracking the hammer. That's
Mhm.
Andrea Parker. And Andrea Parker was in JAG. She was in ER. She was
Mhm.
Mrs. Parker in JAG, I think, or one of them things. And you know, she's a pretty successful actress and stuff. At the time, she was up and coming and stuff. So I just want to clarify that that was who that was. We didn't really know at the time, but she was really cool to all of us. But so were all the other ladies on the set too.
as you might
Especially when you had a
imagine.
director's chair with your name on the back of it, you know, and stuff. You're gonna play the drums, sure. Come on, let's go.
Those were the days.
Oh, definitely. And they spent a lot of money on us, man. I mean, and like I said earlier, Santiago, it was time of access. You know, we got right. You know, that was probably at the boiling point because all of a sudden you got Bang Tango, you got Warrant, you got Enough's Enough, you got you know Saigon Kick, you know, all these bands.
And I listened to them all. I was hooked.
Awesome.
I was hooked.
Yeah,
Um,
and
go ahead,
yeah,
Sam. Go ahead.
definitely. And actually, I'm just as big as a fan of your second album, Nothing Sacred. I think that album kicks so much ass. From
I'll
uh,
tell you what, I'll tell you why. One, it's a good representation of how the band really sounded live and how we worked together in the studio and how we sounded, how we wanted to be represented. Okay. Number two, Tom Werman produced that record. He just
yeah,
got done doing
yeah,
like I think Steel Heart and Kicks. Prior to that, I think it was LA Guns. But he did the first three Motley records. He did like Poison, you know, and
Yep.
so honestly, like after the first record, and we did like a business meeting and stuff with financials and all that. I wasn't going to make shit. I just said, you know, I am out. I'm not going to do this. This is all beneficial to you guys. I'm just a drummer now. I'm a founding member, but you know, when the money hits the table, shit changes and
Mhm.
attitudes change, friendships go south. Only in the business, in the meeting room, you know, when we walk out of the meeting room, we get in a fist fight, and then we're friends again and all that kind of stuff. But you know, that kind of shit, it kind of hurts, you know, because you're going, wait, man, I thought we were brothers. We split everything. It ain't like that. It's business and it's okay. You know, I wasn't looking to capitalize on anybody's publishing or anything like that. But I also didn't want to get charged for my fucking drumsticks and drum heads, you know, dickheads that were running the fucking shit back then. Um, I'm making it's a stupid $200 a week, and all of a sudden they want to charge me for drum heads and sticks and shit. And even though I had endorsements, it
Yeah,
was
but
like
say endorsement deals and
I had
stuff, man.
endorsement, but it ain't free, bro.
That's
It ain't
true.
free. You still
Wow.
you have costs, you still have to pay.
That's true.
Nothing's free. You don't get nothing free. It's half cost. Sometimes it's 80 off. Sometimes it's 90 off.
So you
Depending on
weren't like Michael Jordan and Nike, huh?
hell no. Oh, like that's like, that's a different deal. But I mean, come on, I was just an up and coming kid. I wasn't famous like
These Gretsch drums here sound pretty darn
You were a
good.
fucking hero in my eyes.
yeah.
Honestly.
Well,
I'm
thank
not,
you,
I'm
man.
not,
Appreciate
I'm
that.
not fucking, I'm not
But
kidding.
but here's the thing. Before that record, I was gonna bail, okay? And I was like, seriously, I was going back to Bay Area. I was getting enrolled in community college.
Mhm.
Looking into, I was going to be a firefighter. Actually, I was going to go,
Oh,
and
really?
I was considering it. Yeah, I was considering being EMT and firefighter and all that kind of shit.
Wow.
I wasn't a classroom guy. The biology and all that stuff and learning that shit as an EMT. I just said, dude, there's no way. So,
Mhm.
I started getting more into graphic design and thinking about, a future in that. And then my manager called, and nobody really knew this except my friend Dennis that was in, The Flame, my ex-wife, who we were living together at that time, and Dennis's girlfriend. And I was going, and all of a sudden, I get a call from my manager, Jay Mullen. He goes, "Hey, Clive got Tom Orman to do our next record." I go, "Sign me up. I'm there."
Hmm.
So no one really knows that. No one really knows that at that time I was going to walk, because
Mhm.
I just wanted to have a good life. At that time, I had two, at that time I was looking to get married and all that kind of stuff. And I didn't, it was just very toxic. And I'm going to write a book and you guys are going to know some shit that fucking, you guys are going to be blown away that happened on the bus, that happened with the label. And it was a lot of our fault, not me personally, but some of the other dummies in my band
Mhm.
that blew it big time, like with some of the people that were on our label. And the label they were cool people, man. I swear, I'm still friends with Laura G. I'm still friends with Hilaire Brosio, who broke our record in LA and broke us all over the United States and stuff. He was a radio guy. There's
Mhm.
still on Facebook. We still talk. Every time I post something Babylon, I always, make sure I say thank you to them because they were pivotal, like in our success at
Mhm.
that time. We had a little bit of an advantage because we were the only kind of rock, act on the
Yeah,
top.
that label
Man,
was terrible.
I'll tell you what, dude. I'll tell
That's
you what,
true.
I can't go into here, but when I write a book, you're gonna be blown away by some of the stupid stuff that happened.
Oh,
Really, really
I,
bad.
I can't wait to read it.
Mhm.
Can't wait. I
Yeah.
want an autographed copy.
Yeah,
You'll get it. You'll
he
get
has
it.
a great autograph. You practiced a lot at grade school.
So when Ronnie's talking about the now thing, there was like last August, we had this heat wave here, dude. It was brutal. It was like
It
117.
was.
Oh,
I mean, I went out to take the trash out, like, and I'm like, I walk in, I'm sweat. I'm like, dude, I just got cooked. So all of a sudden, our freaking bottom floor air conditioner takes a crap. So I have to
oh.
move my computer upstairs to work.
It was bad.
Her and I are living upstairs. I go, let's get a little refrigerator. She's, oh, no, no, no. Yeah, we're not doing that. But we had to wait a while to get it fixed because it's extreme heat and stuff. So,
Mhm.
we're just doing things to keep each other busy and not drive each other crazy and stuff. And she pulled out this crate box, these tapes, and we started going through them. And I'm all, Ronnie, I go, you got some really good songs here, man. These are good. This is good stuff. I mean, and she kept playing it. I kept singing the songs over and over. I'm walking, doing my houseboy shit, the vacuum and stuff, and I'm like singing her song. I go, that's a hit song. I know it's a hit song. So, uh, henceforward, we have a lot of people that are that we've invited into the project, and we have an engineer that's helped us set up our room to capture scratch and stuff. As a matter of fact, this Saturday we're gonna start. We finally got things dialed in and everything, and we got the right people now and stuff. And some people we're not gonna do things with anymore and stuff. And we're gonna move forward with her thing. And starting this Saturday, that's day one. We finally got it all ready to go. Her schedule kind of opens up. My schedule's opened up, and we're just gonna be here and we're gonna have a great time. We're gonna have fun. We bring people in. We have a baby grand here, and we have the most incredible piano player guys come by sometimes, and they're just smashing us. So we have a really cool situation here where we basically don't even really have to go anywhere,
It's
and
about
so
the drums, so I have
Yeah.
to say, this is the Hollywood dream for me, to be with a drummer that loves the songs and to be able to focus. Listen, I know real drummers modernly are programming things and people that do the drums the last thing. That's fine. This is not what I'm into, okay?
Mhm.
So I said, let's just open with, spend as much time and whatever it takes to do the drums as you would hear them. And you were talking about the album with Crossfire on it, that one, and us listening to it on vinyl, and the courage of an engineer to give you drums with presence without conflicting or competing with the singer. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? This is an art. It really is.
It's
But
frequency. It's
if
really,
you don't have that, I mean, you need to have the drummers like Pat Benatar had or like Soraya, where you have, you know, they're there, they're present. You hear every beat and every inflection of the drums, but it's not
Mhm.
conflicting with the vocals, and that you can hear every lyric. And I think it takes a tremendous amount of ability to do that, and experience and gift. And fortunately, I have just such a person right here. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna do drums first. Thank you. I can play everything scratch, perfectly fine. Anything else you want to overdub, that's fine. But the drums are going to be the core of it.
yeah.
The song is a song, but
And
without
then
drums, it's crap.
And then also talking a little bit more about just the Vegas experience. We've met so many great people here. Friend of mine, his name's Chris Phillips. He goes by AKA Zoe Bowie. He's like one of the biggest acts on Fremont Street for the last 10 years. He's been voted #1 entertainer stuff. He's a good friend of ours. I met Les Warner. He's the drummer in the Cult. He played on that Electric record. We got
Mhm.
invited to this Halloween party and stuff, and we
Wow.
become good friends. We're going to go out actually tomorrow night. He's doing this thing with Bootsy Collins, and he invited me to go and stuff. And so
Dude,
uh,
that's cool.
we got to meet Donny Osmond, Wayne Newton, I mean, Todd Kearns, Todd Kearns is right. He plays with Miles
Mhm.
Kennedy, and all that. He's a
Yep.
sweetheart of a guy, Keith St. John. I've known him from the Bay Area, but he's in the Rock Vault and stuff. Bloss Eli's, he's here. He plays in the Rock Vault, and
Yeah.
he played in Slaughter.
Mhm.
Sebastian Bach is around the corner from me. He
Stephen
lives
Pierce,
here,
yeah.
right around the corner. My friend Johnny Monaco, who played in
So
Enough's
good.
Enough.
Enough, yep.
He plays with Piercy. He's close by. Hung out with him many times and stuff. So
Yeah,
everyone knows
you got
everybody.
everybody, you got everybody there for the perfect
Dude, no,
block party.
and that's what I'm saying. The Hollywood dreams.
Yes,
This is
yes,
the reality now. Everyone's here. All the
yeah.
rock stars live in Vegas, and it's a good deal too. I mean, the house we have is like. I feel like I sold 1 million records. I mean, constantly.
And
So,
the up and coming people too, like many people has mentioned, fans and so on, recognize Jamie, but also his peers and colleagues, some of these
Mhm.
musicians that have really, been quite successful, they're reconnecting and so on. And then, because we had to do so much recruiting for the Duran project, and I'm always out and about doing whatever TF I want in retirement, I've stumbled across, like with Stephen Davis, Daddy Priest, these young guys. I didn't tell him, I said, "Hey, I wish he'd be this guitar player. I want to use him at the LA gigs." And he's like, so a couple of rehearsals in, he goes, "I don't think he's going to be right. I'm sure he's going to be."
I wrote his case, man, because
you know that he's 27 years old?
I
He's
don't
like,
care. I don't know if I'm paying the bill, dude. I'm like going. I'm
anyway,
like the record company. I was
so
like, dude, if you don't get this together, like in the next day or two, you're out.
I
It's
said,
like
but
out.
and I said, this is not dad rock. We're gonna have a variety. There's got to be a girl. There's got to be a young guy.
Yeah,
It's gonna,
yeah.
and so
That's cool.
it's really cool
The
because
culture, the
yeah,
culture that we had at, with the Duran, just the last rendition of it, we had
Mhm.
Mexicans, we had African American,
right.
Filipinos, Jewish, I mean, everybody, it was just killer. It was the camaraderie
Yeah.
between, the diverse group of people
Yeah.
that we had was just amazing. And we're making music together. We're representing a wonderful repertoire, a beautiful repertoire of Duran Duran music.
Yeah.
And that's where it all comes together. That's where all the meeting of the heads, because everyone's a fan and the music's gorgeous, so.
And the people that have given me a chance with, because I do get hired for side gigs here and there. I try to return the favor. I don't know. It's just comes, I think, instinctively to each one of us. And I just want to mention somebody that I've been really impressed with and fortunate to play a couple shows with, who I really think highly. It was a very young man from Ecuador named Stefan Camacho. And he's a shredding guitar player. And I sort of took him under my wing a little bit because he's a rock star. He's definitely going to make it all the way with the Hollywood Dream or the Vegas Dream or whatever. But there's certain little things like they taught us at GIT, like don't tune audibly on the bandstand or in rehearsals. You know, it's like a small thing. Always look at the captain of the ship, which is your drummer, you know, or, you know, I'll call them aside. I go, they're telling you to turn up the volume on your lead. It's not that, it's a frequency. You're losing, this happens. You go to that distorted sound, you lose the low end. Just dial in some low frequencies and they're not going to tell you to turn up that way.
And then, you know, that's the nice part. I'm like, dude,
Yeah.
look at me. Okay, there's a door. All right.
He's like,
come on.
I'm like, no, no.
I mean, I was 16 years old when I started playing. I was 21 years old when I got a record deal. You know, I was working with, you need to listen. Okay, gawk. I'm all, did you just hear what I said? Just I let Ronnie handle that stuff because, you know, I just get in too much trouble, man. I just like,
No, it's just like
I won't come in the room until like it's all ready to go because once I get my momentum going, playing and stuff, and I have to stop.
Yeah, right.
I was just like, hey, dude, you guys don't even get it.
Patience line. It's not our long, but we have to sort of share the wealth. But anyway, I just want to mention Stefan because he's done what I've suggested. And that's something for a boy mom, you know what I mean? It's like,
Other people fail the test, you know, and
yeah,
just kind of like, we're just not around anymore.
It's great. Let me tell you, I took him to the real Duran Duran because I was getting discouraged. Like, oh my God, all this money, all this work, all this wood shedding, all this gear, you know, time, what in the heck? And we're not even any better than it was 5 years ago. What the heck? And I was really feeling this way. So I took him to the real Duran. I'm like, yeah. 5 songs in, I was like, it's dad rock. I think we're doing okay.
I go, yeah, I think we're doing all right, Ronnie. I mean, because the presentation that we're doing is a little bit more edgy than what we're doing. I'm not saying that we're as good as them. It's just, well, we did the Duran thing. We turned out the guitars a little bit more. The drums are pounding, you know, and stuff. I don't know, David, if you or Santiago, if you've gone on our website, listen to it. Those are our demos, like on the front of our website. So those are our recordings, you know. So every time we mix those demos in with some other like learning tools with the original artists, but we might have chopped them up to the arrangements that we wanted. But the original, they're going, where did these other Duran songs come from? Yeah, the drums are cranking. I go, that's us. They're going, that's cool. You know?
Yeah, I mean,
That's
Duran
awesome.
Duran. I saw them live a few years ago at a festival when they played right before Metallica.
That makes no sense.
Yeah,
but
which is
But
it is a weird. It's a weird like decision from the organizers, but whatever. And let me tell you, they rocked the place out. They blew Metallica out of the water. And
Really?
They, yeah,
You know what?
they
That's
rocked so hard.
Simon Le Bon, and you know what? Playing a cover gig, this is not a cover gig. This is we have
Tribute act. It's a tribute act. It's a tribute act.
Players on stage and backing tracks. It is so.
It's a production. That's what we're trying to do.
It's orchestration. It's arrangement. It's execution. It's a click track. It's
one of the things when you get into the outfit and you know when you're in the cash, you get in the cash and stuff. Is this we're an entertainment act. You know, we're not a band. We're an entertainment act. You're like hired to do a job, to be professional, and to know the repertoire, to wear the wardrobe, you know, and all you got to do is go out there and look like a rock star. And you know, the ladies that we have in the band, you know, including, you know, just gorgeous women, super sharp, smart, killer, talented people that support the lead singer. And, you know, everyone is just like, when it was hitting on all cylinders, it was just really like, this is so worth doing. Right now, this is worth doing. Like her thing for me, it's all worth doing for me because I've been fulfilled and I've been blessed all my life with, you know, things I've set out to accomplish. And I'm not saying it was easy. The door's open. When the door's open, you need to walk through and do the work. Okay. And you got to earn it. And a lot of those doors have opened for me and stuff like that. But I'm pretty content, man, because, you know, I have a great career right now. And I'm still in the music business. I still do whatever I want, whenever I want and stuff. But, you know, being at home, it isn't normal. It's like, I like normality because it's different to me, you know, and having a life like this is great because my kids are out of college now, you know, and all this stuff. And all I got to worry about is just waking up every day here in Vegas and enjoying the sunshine, you know, and it's wonderful.
And it's nice to have, you know, the bond that we have through the music because you've really got to have a lot of trust in your partner to take on an enterprise that we did the past 5 years. all the responsibilities, his famous name on the bottom line. Something screws up, it's going to affect him in many different ways. But we have a lot of courage with that. I think we did a great job. And I'll tell you, because Metallica. So
what's the
I
next
have
question?
to,
What's the next question?
I can't tell you.
I'm trying to keep my computer from
I
dying.
mean,
All right. I'm just glad. Thank you for including me in this. And I'm really proud to be with Jamey Pacheco.
no, I mean, yeah, it's been great having you guys. I mean, the only other question I may have is what is exactly a psychedelic sex reaction? I always wondered.
A good question. It was one of the songs Clive picked out on her second record in order for to get that record going out. He picked it. Um, it was an outside song that was brought, I think, to Derek, and then Derek, I think, worked with another songwriter or something. It could have been Jack or something, and they kind of revamped it, and it was brought into the studio while I think we were recording. I think the idea of it was going to, the idea of it was kind of semi pre-production, but it was brought and kind of like going, you're going to do the song. So I think it was one of the last songs that we recorded. And what had happened was that song kind of killed our career because we hated the song so much.
Oh, really?
And Eric's going to write about it on his on his story thing he tells every Sunday or something on the Babylon thing, and I think he's going to talk about it. But what had happened is that we kind of made a pact not to play the song live, okay? And so because we didn't want to. Don't get me wrong, man. I love the band Warrant, and I loved Cherry Pie when it came out, but we weren't a Cherry Pie kind of band, okay?
Right.
We were more like Skid Row and kind of like LA Guns and that kind of thing. We were just more street, more a little bit dirtier. We weren't.
Mm.
Warrant was, those guys were kind of like that in a way too. But the record company kind of polished them up and made them like, hey, we're 16 magazine, and that kind of thing. Those guys,
Yeah.
don't get me wrong, the guys in Warrant were hella cool. We played gigs with them, all sweethearts. Everybody's cool. Janny was killer. But they wanted their cherry pie. And so we vowed not to do it. So imagine this. We're in New York City. We're at one of the biggest clubs in the New York City. I think it was at the Marquee Club or something like that. They fly in all these, directors for radio, and all the guys that do the ads, the biggest guys. Okay. There was like 10 of them or something. They all have this big luncheon. They all like, doing these things with the record company and all stuff. Then they come to the gig and we're done with our set. And the A&R guy goes, you guys can do an encore, right? And I go, yeah, we're going to do an encore. And they go, well, you're going to play Psychedelic Sex Reaction, right? And I go, no, we're not going to fucking play that. Oh, I didn't say it. Derek was saying we're not going to. And my manager goes, dude, you guys got to. I mean, Clive's out there. The marketing people are out there. I don't think Clive was there, but I think it was a big deal with radio, okay? And so we go out to do the encore. We do Aerosmith SOS Too Bad and say, good night, fuck you. And it was like, that was it, dude. It was over after that. Tour support got pulled. All of a sudden, we go from a bus to a Winnebago to go home. You know what I mean? It's
Oh
just
my
like,
God.
that was the end of it. Because, and that was just one of the like shit show stories but there was other things that happened and they just had it with us. They had it. And that right there, it was the straw that broke the camel's back because they put up with so much shit with us. And it wasn't the fact that the shit they put up with us, they just were cramming it. You get in the corporate cog like that. This is my money, and you're going to do what I say. Prior to you getting a deal, it's like, oh, we love you. We like it. Nothing's going to change. No, we're not fucking Jimmy Page with Peter Grant saying, mate, you ain't changing shit, and this is the way it's going to go. And if you don't dig it, we'll go somewhere else, and I'll smash their face until they take it. You're not doing, well, no singles, no nothing. That's the Zeppelin thing. Nah, man, when you were in an 80s band and stuff, we were lucky that Van Halen opened the doors for the Bon Jovis, the Rats, the Dawkins, and the LA Guns guys. And then those guys opened the doors for bands like Babylon AD, Saigon Kick, everybody, Enough's Enough, Warrant. Okay, those guys opened the doors for us. So by that time, these guys are done with those guys and doing it their way. This is like MTV XS money-making machine.
You're a commodity.
And I want to hit. I mean, we went 4 singles deep on our first record, and we were supposed to go at least 3 on the second. But by the time, because We did actually go 3 singles deep because it was I think it was Bad Blood, So Savage to Heart, and then Psychedelic Sex Reaction. And
Yeah.
and that's a lot of money that to pump into campaigns and to get the things going. And they just had enough. They just said, and you know, I honestly knew it was coming. We were on the road with Wildside. We were on in Roxy Blue and stuff. You could feel it, man. I mean, Nirvana was on the air all the time, and we're just going,
Yeah. Well, for what it's worth, I mean, that's psychedelic sex reaction. Well, commercial in nature. It's not as poppy as Cherry Pie or Unskinny Bop or those types of songs. I always thought it was like a heavier song, but
John Matthews, he's back in the band, who one founding members is back in the band now. He said, "You guys were stupid for not fucking following through with that." He goes, "That was a good tune." I go, "You're joking." Oh man, I thought he was joking. Every single time I talk to him about it, I think he's bullshitting me, but I don't
well,
know.
you stick to your guns, and that's cool. Yeah.
The best thing about that was doing it with Tom Werman, man. It was so fun. That record was great, man. And there's a lot of great stories about the production of that record because Tom, he goes, "You guys are boring, man. This place feels super clinical. Let's fuck this place up, get some horrors and some fucking and some coke, and let's just go nuts." And we're going, "Did he say that? It's okay.
He said hook us
Look,
up.
I don't know.
Still, okay.
That's awesome. Interesting to talk to our rock and roll heroes, I guess I could say. I mean, like David said, Babylon AD is also for me like a seminal band, right? Like one of the great bands that came out of the 80s. And I have here my pre-release Babylon AD cassette tape
Yeah.
from
Is that a four song? Is that the four-song one, or is that the full record
It's a full
pre-release?
record, actually. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I have several of those.
yeah,
We
yeah.
have a record album on vinyl, and when we came here and played it in our living room when we moved to Vegas, it just filled the house with the most, earth-shattering rock and roll. It's quite different, I have to say, and hearing it on vinyl was a fabulous experience.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I never listened to that first record on vinyl before because you know, when we got released, it was 1989. It was right when they did CD, they did chrome tape, and then they were doing, CD, tape, and then vinyl. And
Mhm.
1989 was actually the last year that they did release vinyl for quite a while until like bands like Soundgarden came along and stuff and demanded vinyl. But you know, I didn't like the record when it first came out, and the reason being, it was because they were just getting the technology figured out from going bouncing to vinyl to CD.
Mhm.
And and what had happened is the technology wasn't worked out quite yet, so it added a lot of compression and it really made everything smaller.
Mhm.
So, years henceforward, just like Ronnie said, we move in here to Vegas and we get this really kick-ass purist, vinyl record player. And I bought some studio speakers.
So good.
It has an external amp, so it doesn't even have anything. All it is just RCA to the needle out into an external amp into the speakers. No EQ or nothing. And we stuck it down, and I'm just
Oh
going,
my
"Oh
God.
my God, this thing sounds
It was
amazing."
big.
It was huge. And so I actually called Simon Hanhart, the producer of the record, and I had to tell him the story. I had to tell him that I wasn't too keen on the record, but man, I'm sorry. I mean, I could only imagine him taking the 2-inch masters and playing them in front of Clive and all his cronies over at Arista, and they must have been knocked out because
Yeah.
that you
No
could
doubt.
feel the tape, you could feel the analog of the room, the tape, the tubes, everything of the technology at the time, and it was smoking. It was pretty smoking. So I'm pretty happy about that.
yeah. I found a copy on Discogs quite a few years back,
Yeah,
and
from that
first
side.
time when I put it for the first album when I put that on, and it was like hearing it for the first time again.
Yeah.
Because I grew up listening. I collected tapes. I didn't even want CDs. I was a tape guy, and you know, uh, just that album, it the name fit the way the album should have sounded. You know, it's like Babylon AD was just a big blasting sound, and it was
Yeah, I
amazing to
mean the production is
revisit it.
outstanding. It's really, really, really the drum, like, especially the drum. It's just so big,
Yeah,
big sounding and powerful, and guitars and everything, right? I mean, this is definitely something different, and with a lot of bands. From that era, right? That they had this like larger than life aura around them. And Wagner is one of was a perfect example. I mean, when I first discovered the band, I mean, I'm younger than you guys. I'm 32, so I didn't get to be part of that era. But when I first discovered you guys over the internet, of course, when I was a teenager. Actually, no, I had a magazine that had like a rock and roll heroes magazine or something like that,
Metal
local
Edge,
from
Metal
where I
Edge.
am.
Hmm.
And I remember they had like a list of bands, and one was Violent 80, and the name was so like interesting to me. Like, hey, this what is this? And that's what made me like try to find out more.
So
Sorry.
there's discrepancy on how the name came up and how the
Hmm.
idea came up, but really, um, we were going back and forth to Los Angeles quite a bit, and I remember being in the back of the van, like going down Sunset Strip, and me and my guitar player, and we're looking at all the neon lights and stuff coming to sunset, you know, uh, a couple days early before a gig or something. And I go, God, this is a neo Babylon, new Babylon,
Hmm.
right?
Right.
And
Yeah.
like my father was a kind of a biblical scholar. I mean, he talked about the Bible a lot and stuff. And I obtained a book about the city of Babylon and the Tower of Babylon and stuff. And we considered it, just naming the band Babylon. But my dad goes, man, guys, I don't know, that's kind of blasphemous, I mean, they built the Tower of Babel because they wanted to be greater than God, I mean, and they thought that they could surpass God by building the Tower of Babel, and stuff. Or even getting to God, where you don't have to go to heaven. We have a tower so big and so great, we're gonna just, step our way up. And so it was like, we knew we were kind of getting into it, but the world was turning at that time too. I mean, it was the time of excess, a lot of dope, a lot of rock and roll, a lot of drinking, a lot of partying. And from 1980, I would say 1983 up to probably 1993, it was that way, man. I mean, it just was full throttle. So we decided to go ahead and go with that. And my guitar player, actually, John Matthews, John Matthews is in the band now. But him and
Mhm.
I, we're the founding members. Him and I, the both of us. I'm not talking anybody else. Him and I started the band. We started writing music together, and then we invited all the rest of the guys in. Not invited, but said, "Hey, you want to check this out? We got some good stuff going. With the
Mhm.
singer. I'm not going to mention his name, but anyway, so um, we came later we came up with a song called Back of Babylon, John wrote and stuff. And that was basically kind of like almost about New York, I mean, because it was like our first experience in New York and stuff like that. But there was another right before the release of the record, because it was just going to be Babylon. We found out there was an outfit, I think in Chicago, that owned the name. So we had to pay 30K or so. We had to pay some money for it. And our lawyer suggested to add the AD part. And which made sense because it's a modern day. But it's out, you know what I mean? It's just like the AD was a smart thing to do. We're not
yeah.
trying to replicate the sin of there of way back when, but we're replicating what
We have our own sins.
exactly. That's kind of how it went. I mean, there could be a little fluctuation there and stuff, but the ideas kind of came by going to Hollywood a lot and just, experience the Rainbow and hanging out the Whiskey and the Roxy and the Troubadour and Gazzarri's and the Strip and the whole thing and living there and terrorizing. I mean, we used to come from the Bay Area and we would just raise hell. We didn't fit in at all. We just raise hell, and stuff. So we thought of LA that way, that was just, we were misfits there. But we just said, man, this is like the land of opportunity. This is land of access. This is where it's at, you know?
Yeah.
And so that's kind of how it morphed together, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it fits in with and the sound fits perfectly with all that like idea that you guys were working on, and so that was 85, you said, like when you guys first started playing together.
When's that?
85 when he started playing.
Oh yeah, Matthews and I, like, and that's another like a bunch of crap and stuff like that. Really, it was kind of like late '85. Me and John started. We got reintroduced through a friend of mine. My friend was in a band called my friend who passed away. He was in a band called Flame, and I don't know if you guys remember that band or not. They were on Giant
Yeah.
Record.
Yeah.
Dennis Bostock, the drummer in there, was my best friend, and we grew up together.
Hmm.
And, he passed away, and
Mm.
stuff, unfortunately. I mean, I miss him dearly. But he had a studio, and he was playing with John Matthews, and they were writing and stuff like that. Well, Dennis got an offer, and there was kind of like this new wave power punk kind of power pop band. They were called Timothy English and the Mods. And John was a big dude, and John was kind of, back then John was like he didn't want to mess piss off at all. And so Dennis needs some help. I went to LA with him, and I went on our way back, and I was going, oh wow, this is how the music business works. All these people, these industry people are at the Roxy, and we were hanging out at the Rainbow and Gazzarri's and all that. And I was just floored, like, at the Strip and all that. We get back and on our way back home, because I was with Ben. He goes, hey, he goes, you know what? I've been doing stuff with John, and I've been recording with him. And he goes, why don't I give you guys the front of this? So why don't I be, because I knew John, we all knew each other from high school, but Dennis was better friends with him at that time. So he goes, let me, let me reintroduce you to John and stuff, and let's make a meeting and stuff. And I'll tell you what, you guys could have the front half of the studio, and we'll take the back half. And John and I, the minute John and I, we connected, because I was a freshman when John was a senior in high school. And so we reconnected, and John and I just connected like in a minute. And I'll tell you something, way back in the day when I was in high school, I used to go to Kager parties and watch John play. And I was just going, oh my God, I'm going to do something with this guy someday. This guy's a rock star, I mean, he was just a good looking, Jimmy Page moving, just great tone. His capability was like Randy Rhoads, Eddie Van Halen, Tom Schultz in Boston, that kind of thing. And he was just amazing. And so we clicked right away. And it was kind of a thing where it wasn't a plan, we just started recording. And that's where, like, Don't Tell Me Tonight came, you know. Uh she likes to not she likes to give it, Sadness Madness, Don't Ask Questions, a couple other songs. Last Time for Love, I think, was one of the other ones, those early tapes that are on the In the Beginning, those
Mhm.
4-track tapes, and that was him. He was turning the dials and doing all the guitars. He was playing bass.
John would innovate parts, and I've seen it. I've experienced the two of them, how they collaborate. Um, have somebody like that, a guitar player, who can, and he is actually a studied musician. He's not just, oh, I can play a few riffs. There's depth to his abilities, besides just his proficiency, which he's an axeman. But I had the chance to um, sub in for a bass player for a collaboration session. I said, I'm not ready. But, he had these brilliant ideas, and they were all hooks, each one a hook, a very interesting progression. It's just a legitimate bed for a hit song to be, built upon. And the two of them, it was just a fabulous experience. I'm glad I had that couple of hours.
Jama makes up stuff up so fast that I'm also, wait. Just times. Play it 4 times, 4 times, 4 times, 4 times. So then we could just kind of keep doing this repetition thing. And he'd be all over. Because he was just like this creative genius that just kept spewing out. I'm all, slow down, dude. We're not gonna capture this. Think of the iPhone later and stuff, because that came in handy, like, late night, him and I would be hanging out at our studio. This is like, probably in 2017 or whatever.
Mhm.
And And you know, we'd be partying and stuff, and we'd go home, and he'd just start playing, and I'm all fucked out. I'm gonna get my phone, record, I'm all go. You know, and there's a lot of those ideas came out on that Rome record, you know, that just came out. A lot of those ideas from that night, him and I were hanging out. I mean, I know there was a lot of different stuff, but I think there was a few that John and I captured and stuff. But so, you know, we just started collaborating until we got about 4 songs, maybe five. And this was like maybe about a 3 to 6 month thing where him and I we go out. We had the studio around 9 o'clock. So go to 7-Eleven, get coffee, get beer, and stay there until like 1 o'clock in the morning or whatever, and just screw around. And sometimes all night we'd play, you know? And finally I said, okay, you know, I know a singer. I haven't talked to him a long time. I used to be in a band with him when I was a kid because I started playing professionally when I was 16. And it was Derek Davis, you know. And I said I wasn't going to say his name, but I'm going to do it anyway. Um, and no, and he came I called him up and I just said, hey, I got this, you know, this guitar player. We have a studio. We have some recordings. We got material. And you know, he was in a band. He was a band called Audio at the time, I think. And I think maybe David might know that. But he had management and they were playing all over the Bay Area. They're playing big gigs and stuff. And we talked him into coming down. And the minute he heard John's stuff, he set up a mic in the bathroom and we got some tone and stuff. And Derek sat there for hours, man. And he wrote lyrics to like 3 songs, I think, like in that one session. And he sang them. And when we like looked at each other, we're going, we definitely have something going on here. And so we worked out for a little bit longer. We had a bass player at the time. His name is Keith Martinez. He was a good friend of ours from high school. And he helped us plow through that and stuff. But I always asked Derek, I go, hey, you know, where's Rob Reed? You know, because Rob was in this band called Candy with me and Derek, you know, and that's how I had Derek's contact. And he goes, well, Rob got himself in some trouble and he's in Santa Rita right now, but I think he'll be out in about 6 months. He went to jail. And I go, we found somebody to, you know, actually it was Steve Smith. I mean, he was in the Flame at the time. He played with Dennis. So, and he played with us until Rob got out, and then Steve went to the Flame, and then the Flame started, and they had the back studio, we had the front studio, and that's kind of how it happened. And you know, Fremont, California is a little teeny place. It's a burby place, man, and a lot of people came through there. Like this is a good forum to bring this up, but one of the guys that was on MTV that kind of opened it up for us and stuff was a guy named Kevin Carlson, and he was the lead guitar player in Aldo Nova. And so he was on that song Fantasy. So he's the guy
Back in the day.
playing lead and his hair's all up. It's just gorgeous. Across the street from him was a guy named Larry Carter. And he played in this band called Romeo Void. And he was my drum instructor in high school, right? And this guy he's got a video on MTV with Romeo Void, that song Never Say Never.
Never say
Never. You know, it's kind of new wave, kind of ska.
Yeah.
And so, you know, in Fremont, there was just great musicians and great people. There's a lot of other people that are our friends and are still good friends of me and some of those guys in the band and stuff like that that we give a lot of cred to, man, because you know we all were tight friends. Nobody was posers. Everyone could play their instruments good and stuff. Henceforward, you know, in that same little neighborhood just down the street, Dennis Bostock got a record deal, you know, and then I lived around the corner from Dennis and I got, so in that little quadrant of Fremont, California, there's 4 guys like that were on MTV, which was kind of, and it wasn't a plan, I swear. It was just like, it just happened and it happened to be that way. And later in life, when you start to add it up, you know, Chadbourne Lane in Mission San Jose was just a magical little street of all these talented guys, you know?
Did it help you think, playing in such a small area to like be more artistic than to be less of like I'm gonna follow the rest of the crowd? I mean,
Well, we all like the same music. We were all into Montrose and UFO. We were into Thin Lizzy. We were into Boston. We were into like, you know, maybe the Cars a little bit, you know.
mhm.
But Van Halen, Van Halen came along and that Van Halen was it,
Those are influences, though. They're not followers. You can tell when a band has a sound.
yeah.
Like if you hear the Allman Brothers, you don't think it's anyone else.
We had,
Yeah.
They have a sound that might be influenced by others, but they were never followers of.
no. John, because of John, John he had a lot of Led Zeppelin influence and a lot of influence from Tom Scholz, like with
Mhm.
Boston. He played, he just was, I think he was more mesmerized by the tone he got through the Rock Man. You know what I mean? That
Mhm.
the thing Tom Scholz made up. It was a little like box and
Right.
guitar players. She
He's
plays
Rex
good one right now too. And
X100.
John was a tone guy, he's just into he's into he does electronics for as a profession, he's
Mhm.
about electronics. So he used to wire up his amp and do all these crazy things and stuff. And so John kind of, you know, was influenced, but we didn't try to be anybody. But we also had like guys like Y&T in our neighborhood and all the guys in Tesla and all this great band. And David, if you go to my Facebook, I posted something about Benny and the
Oh my
Jets.
God.
Mhm.
And they were a huge influence on us too. They were from Hayward, and uh I think your thing might be let's just say okay.
Oh, he upgraded.
Oh cool. So The
Benny.
I met Benny the Jets when I was 15 years old because I was getting dressed in a dress and I couldn't go in a club and my mom and dad were there and they came walking through the kitchen where I was getting dressed and the rest of the guys, Derek and Rob and the rest of the band I was in at the time called Candy, they were all in the dressing room and that's where I met Troy Luccketta, from Tesla. And he was in Benny and the Jets
Yep.
and then Benny, who the singer, he was Vince Neil before Vince Neil and Benny and the Jets was Motley Crue before Motley Crue. And Vince stole all of Benny's look. I mean, if you look at these videos that are on my Facebook right now, and you look at the concert, it's a concert there from 1980 at the old Waldorf. And it's a full concert, and they're opening for Y&T. And you'll see why the bar was set so high in my neighborhood. But
Yeah, and that's something that always stood out with when Babylon AD came out. You didn't sound like the rest of the bands to me.
yeah.
And that was something that I always wanted. I was like, man, these guys sound so different from the other bands that were kind of, and that's why I was wondering if that, like, just like I said, being in that small area with just those group of people, that it just, you had more artistic freedom maybe to explore more than,
I think
you
they
know,
could go anywhere they were because they were true to themselves and each one
yeah.
had, so much ability and so many creative concepts to realize. But I think it's a fair question. There's a lot of pressure when you're in Hollywood. Somebody's, I mean, Aquanet, everybody's
Yeah.
wearing Aquanet in there. I'm just saying. But these guys, I feel as though they were influenced, but not affected in the sense of copying anybody else.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
agree.
we just flew by like how we were. We weren't like super glammy like those guys either. We were more dressed down, kind of like
No,
the way Skid Row looked and Bon Jovi kind of
exactly.
looked,
Yeah. Yep.
kind of like Jersey looking, but we were like Oakland guys, like East Bay. But
Yeah.
we understood like when we started going to Hollywood and started reading BAM and all that kind of stuff, the SoCal BAM, we're going, all right, I guess we're just gonna have to take out the eyeliner and whatever. And but you know what? We still played great. We still were motocross. We were full throttle motocross. And then, it was always the reputation thing. I mean, we got in a lot of fist fights and we caused a lot of trouble. And a lot of people didn't like us because we were kind of that way. We were like a pack of wolves and stuff. And that's just how we flew. But Ronnie's got you got to talk to her about her stuff too.
Yeah, we definitely can. Absolutely. But I did want to say one more thing
Sure.
regarding the Babylon ED thing.
Yeah.
You guys played here in Cleveland. I'm in Cleveland, Ohio. You
And
guys
then
played,
Oh my God,
yeah,
really?
rock and roll capital.
Yeah.
You guys, you guys played Flashes
Okay.
with Roxy Blue and Wild Side,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
and it was, unfortunately, it was the only time I got to see you guys live, but it was such a big night for me, and I met all of you guys. I picture somewhere. I have to dig them out. I have no
On the
idea where they're
bus.
at this point, but I just want to say you guys were really cool to me. And as a kid, back then, it meant the world. And you signed my Nothing Sacred tape, everything I had, I was all pumped up. And
And well,
um
man, I'll tell you what, we were really grateful too, man. I mean, we did pretty good in the Bay Area, and we, did a lot. We drew really good and stuff, but it was incredible not seeing like how we connected like with when we were touring on our
yeah,
first couple of tours and stuff. And we were very flattered, man. And we didn't take anything for granted. We didn't.
cool.
Especially the fans, we were just like so blown away that everyone loved our music like that. And so we were all very grateful for that kind of thing. I mean, for us, nine guys being on a tour bus to be in Cleveland, Ohio, on as on during work hours, that was our work
Yeah,
hour.
yeah.
That was our job. I mean,
So
you
good.
it didn't get any better than that, at that point and stuff. So thank you for your support and everything that
Oh, absolutely,
I've
man.
always talked to you for like a lot of time, a lot. And you've always been a really cool person to like, converse with and just
I love what you guys laid down for everybody, and all that, and I
So,
appreciate it.
so
And it's
so so
awesome to have
so
you on the show.
going back to the first album, so you guys collaborated with Jack Ponty and Sam Kinison on that album. Was that cool or something that was forced on you by the label or something like that?
yeah. So we had the label had seen us once in San Francisco, and Clive showed up, and we thought for sure he was going to sign us. And he goes, I want to see one more thing because this is how I sign my acts, and this is how I sign everybody and stuff. He goes, I want to know if you could work with outside songwriters. And we said, cool, whatever. Okay, set us up. So a couple months went by, a few more months went by, and then all of a sudden, Derek, they fly Derek to Jersey, and they didn't take John, they didn't take Ron, they just took Derek, and he went and they hooked him up with a Jack Pawnee and Vic Pepe, and those guys were part of the Jersey Underground along with John Bon Jovi, Desmond Child, and Richie Sambora.
Mhm.
Um, Derek didn't write with those guys; he wrote with Vic and Jack, and he came back and he had Desperate, Hammer Swing Down, Caught Up on the Crossfire, and I think The Kid Goes Wild or something like that, right? And and so we started playing these songs, and we're fired up about Desperate. We're going, man, Clive hears this, we're in for sure. This song's gonna be great and all that. And you know, uh that's kind of how that came about. So the label put us in the studio once before and were interested. We prior to that, we went and recorded some She Likes to Give It, Too Much Too Young, and another
Mhm.
song, three-song demo, and did it at the Grinder. And when we heard that demo, we're going, this is album quality. This is looking to get us signed. But that got Clive to San Francisco. Then the next test was to see if we could do songwriters, do work with outside songwriters. And once we did that, the buzz was going, but then it kind of stalled out for some reason. So my manager put the squeeze on him, moved us to Hollywood. And it was like a Wednesday we moved in. We get a call and said, Clive wants to see you guys on Saturday. And we hadn't been practicing or nothing. We've been getting our shit together to move to LA, looking for apartments and all that kind of stuff. And we finally made the move. And so we're still unpacking. We're going, holy shit. So I don't even think we rehearsed. I think we got to Mate. We did the showcase at Mates in North Hollywood.
Yeah.
And we got there early. I think we rolled through some of the songs. And then imagine this. It was like nine guys, it was a crew and us, my manager, and then it was the three suits. It was like American Idol with no audience. Okay, that's what it was like in a big room, three guys sitting there like this.
Yeah.
It was a West Coast guy, A&R, and two guys from New York. It was Clive. So there's four of those guys,
Yeah.
and and it was surreal, man. I think like five songs in or something like that, he just said, he told us to stop. And I thought he was just going to walk out. And he goes, come here, come here, come here, come here. And we all got real close and he put his arms all around us. And he goes, welcome to the family, boys. He goes, I'm going to make you bigger than Aerosmith. He goes, you're going to be my number one priority. I'm going to make you bigger. I'm going to make you bigger than Aerosmith. You boys know I signed Aerosmith, right? We're all, yeah, we know. And, at the time, Fresky and I think we're barely like maybe 21, 22 years old, and we're just going, just got a record deal, and everybody else had composers. We were the kids in the room.
Yeah.
And it was pretty surreal, man, hanging out and talking with the man. And he had big plans for us and shit. But it's a different story, and all that. But that's kind of how that evolved with the songwriting. Yes, the outside songwriting was key. And then after we penned the deal, they shipped him off to freaking to Jersey again, and he comes back with more. All of a sudden, there's only 2 songs left from the real batch of songs that we thought we were going to release. So that whole beginning album was pretty much our first record, but only like Back in Babylon, I think, and this other song, what's that song called? Sweet Temptation, I think, and
Hmm.
Sally Dance. I think Sally Dance and Shot of Love. I think those were just I think, Derek wrote those 2 by himself. So only really 2 band compositions, like with the full band and all that kind of stuff when we kind of developed these things in this, when we were rehearsing and stuff, only made the first record. So we were kind of, I would say it was kind of pre-contrived, kind of pre-planned, just like everybody else. You
Hmm.
know, we need hits. We're going to put $1 million into you guys. We need to make our money back. I don't care what you guys say. So that's kind of how that went.
Gotcha. Now,
Well, I mean, we are almost at the 2 hour mark, so I think
Yeah,
we
you
have.
guys edit it any way you want, do whatever you want. We talk too much. I know. I'm sorry.
No, no, no. I mean, you guys are great, but we gotta at some point we gotta cut it a day. But I mean, let's for old time's sake, we always close out our episodes listing out like our desert island records. What albums would you take to a desert island? So if you guys want to do like 3 or 4 albums, you would take to an island if
Ronnie,
you.
well, Ronnie, go first. Ronnie, go first.
Okay.
I think you have to go.
Okay. It would definitely be Zeppelin 1, Zeppelin 2. It would be Van Halen 1, the Sex Pistols, Guns N' Roses, first record, all the great first records. You know what I mean? But there's just something about that first record thing, that magic, that for me, like Montrose one too. Okay, the first Montrose record, like with Rock Candy and Bad Motor Scooter and stuff, right? Those are like those are pivotal records for me. Even to this day, I go back and listen to the Zeppelin stuff. I was in this Zeppelin tribute band for a while and stuff, and it's mesmerizing to me how great John Bonham was, and some of these drummers that were influenced on like Al Van Halen and Denny Carmassi, and so those are I'm not saying the Sex Pistols. The Sex Pistols is just all about attitude, and so is the Guns N' Roses. The Guns N' Roses, Sex Pistols one are kind of like in this category, but the other ones, like UFO and Montrose and Zeppelin and stuff, and early AC/DC like Power Age and stuff. I mean, even though that was like AC/DC's fourth record and stuff, Let There Be Rock and Power Age is one of my favorites. So and a lot of people like it doesn't it crack you up how people say, oh, AC/DC's easy. No, it's not easy, dude. It's full throttle, like freaking balls to the wall, fucking playing, but with dynamics and fucking perseverance, and it's hard to play. So how dare you say that if you do, because it ain't
yeah.
easy. It ain't easy. Go ahead, babe.
Oh, I would say Tower of Power, Tower of Power, the one was so very hard to go. What is hip and soul vaccination? That would be one. And
Got
then,
work to do.
oh, sorry, I know. The second one would be Led Zeppelin 2. And then I guess, I mean, this is Desert Island we're talking. I would say the Haydn that my dad played with the Philadelphia Orchestra. I have that on vinyl and it's, I would say those three, but thank you so much for having me.
No,
I
I
mean,
mean, thank
Awesome.
you guys for being on the show. You guys are now friends of the show. So you guys are welcome back whenever you want, and we'll promote your stuff on social media, the Duran 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 stuff, or whatever you guys
yeah,
do.
LadyBeatsBassQueeze.com, JameyPacheco.com, Duran3Tribute.com.
There
We're on
you
all
go.
sorts of platforms. We're on Instagram. We're on Facebook, LinkedIn.
Mhm.
We're on X and all that kind of stuff. So just look us up. We'll be posting stuff. We were starting to post a little bit of stuff about some really like stuff that we were doing with her record, but we kind of shift gears a little bit now, and we reshuffled that concept. So it's going to be more about just her
Awesome.
and me, like kind of being the executive producer and helping her along with the process and stuff. And we've surrounded ourselves with some really great people to help. So we'll keep you posted on that, and maybe we just do a show about that too.
Awesome. Yeah, for sure. For
Yeah.
sure. Again, thank you. And yeah, we'll have you guys back whenever you want. Yeah, and if you ever write that book, you got two sales right here. Me and Dave.
Dude, you're gonna love it, man. And I have all the ads. I'm like the Bill Wyman of the band because I'm a graphic designer. I collected all the flyers. I got all the press
You've
releases,
got the old stuff.
all the old Babylon AD, like the bad photos that we took, like during photo and stuff like that, right? I got it all. So it's going to be very visual, very a lot of typography because I'm a typographer too, graphic design and stuff. So it's going to be a good visual read as well. It's going to be an interesting read, but it's going to be a visual read too. You're going
Awesome.
to have the one chapter, all it's going to have is an exclamation point, and that's going to be like that means fuck. It's like we shit. It's just an exclamation point. That's it. That's the chapter, and then shit's coming after that. So it's going to be a fun read because it's going to be a visual thing where you could put two and two together and has a cool factor, get you thinking, and then you're going to put two and two together and go, wow, that's cool. So those are my plans for that.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Well, looking forward to that for sure. So, thank you, Dave. Anything else you want to add before we
I
go?
don't even know if my mic's working.
Yeah, it's working. It's working.
It is okay. I'm like sitting there and my computer keeps telling me it's not working. I'm like, the light's on. Um, no, this has just been awesome. And Jamey and Ronnie, thank you for doing this. It's I know I've been wanting to talk to Jamey for a long time, and you know the little communication we did over Facebook, really
Yeah,
means a lot.
I wanted to include Ronnie because it's been a big part of my life since around 2018 when we met, and
Mhm.
so that was like this whole new chapter of like who I am and how things have wound up. And
Mhm.
God, I couldn't ask for a better, road to go down. So thanks
No,
for the
and
opportunity, guys.
you
And
guys
thanks
look
for,
you guys look happy, and it's awesome to see that you have an energy that just
Yeah,
pops off the screen right here.
definitely.
So it's pretty cool.
cool, man. Right on. Thank you.
All
Thank you
right,
so much.
guys. Thank you so much, and we'll talk to you guys later. Enjoy it.
All right. Thank you. Thank you very much for your time, sir.
Wow,
Thank you
thank
very much.
Awesome.
Good job.
Thank
You.
you.
All
Thank you.
right.
Bye
See you
bye.
soon. Bye.